It's episode 75. Today we're talking about the solution to being too busy. This episode is precious, so close to my heart because over the last several years, I really took a look at all of the activities I was doing and I'm like, why am I doing this? And now even today, people are like, oh, you're so busy. Are you busy? Everyone's busy. I'm like, I'm literally not. I'm literally not busy. And my life is custom designed that way. And I want to share exactly what I do, the questions that I ask myself when I take on a new activity, when I say yes to something, and when I say no, and why I say no, those types of things. So I'm really excited to share this episode 75 of the Adventures with Annie Peguero podcast. I want to invite you to go over to my website at anniepeguero.com and sign up for free complimentary Magnetic Week. It's coming up on January 3rd, so like the first Monday of January. And if you're listening to this after the fact, don't worry, there's still going to be some beautiful downloads for you that you can get on my website after the fact. So this week is going to be all about manifesting, all about raising your vibration to match your true authentic self and your desires. So we're going to be talking about manifesting your desires and really getting true with yourself and real with yourself about your vision and what it is you desire in your life. So that's Magnetic Week. We start January 3rd. It is for everyone. It's going to be a beautiful thing, and sign up for it for free over at anniepeguero.com. I'd like to introduce you to Sarah Carter. She's a coach. She's a former U.S. Navy pilot and an author. Sarah's book called All About Change, How to Successfully Make Personal Life Changes is available for literally 99 cents until January 13th on Amazon. So I'm going to be sharing about Sarah all this month. I really encourage you to go over and grab her book. She's going to be a guest here on the podcast in a couple of weeks. And her book it's been in the works for about a year. And Sarah says that it's absolutely amazing to have it done. And she helps high achieving people get specific about their goals, their potential, and their path to success through life's inevitable transitions so that they can live and lead as their truest self. Sarah is a former Navy pilot. She's a new mom. I really love Sarah's journey and her transition and realness about what it was like to completely reinvent herself after leaving the Navy as a pilot, what that was like, and completely reinventing herself in her new role as a life coach and a mom. And I'll tell you what, if Sarah can do it, if I can do it, anybody can do it. You can reinvent yourself. So this book, All About Change by Sarah Carter, How to Successfully Make Personal Life Changes, is available on Amazon for 99 cents until January 13th. So after listening to this episode, hop on over to Amazon and grab Sarah's book. This podcast is for ambitious women who want to ignite your soul and create impact and abundance through adventure. I'm your host of the Adventures podcast. I'm Annie Peguero. For the past 11 years, I've been serving women in the online space, helping them overcome self-doubt and limiting beliefs and just get out of your own head. In 2017, I overcame my own obstacles when I went live on Facebook asking for help in finding my birth family. It was in that moment I decided to let go of unworthiness, self-doubt, and shame. I knew I needed to break that cycle. And that's what I want for you. That's what I'm here to share in this podcast because my life was forever changed. I'm a former personal trainer and law enforcement officer, and I'm currently trained in neuro-linguistic programming and hypnosis. My clients are enjoying entrepreneurial success through my group coaching program called Soul School. I'm a mom of girls and military spouse. We've lived in Japan twice, and I've been able to move my business globally 4 times across the planet. And it continues to be a beautiful adventure. I'm here to help you create abundance and joy through ultimate action and spend less time in self-doubt. Here we go, the Adventures with Annie Peguero podcast. Okay, welcome back. Here we go. Today is, as of this recording, it's Monday, December 20th. It's the week of Christmas. Merry, Merry Christmas. If you celebrate, all of the joy to you. If you don't celebrate Christmas, I'm so thrilled and happy and grateful to have you here as a listener of my podcast. It's been such a joy to create all of these episodes. It's truly something that I've always wanted to do. And we're coming up, I think, on the 3-year anniversary of Adventures with Annie Peguero. And if you've been here for a while, you know this podcast has totally been in transition. It's been under a couple of different names, but, the goal and the mission has always been the same: freedom, just freedom from the stress that we hold in our hearts, freedom of trauma. And trauma, like we always talk about, isn't necessarily an act, but it can be an emotion, things that we're holding onto that are preventing us from living our true, authentic life. So today's episode is about being busy. I mean, how often are you feeling so overwhelmed, like you have so much going on, like there's just never going to be a point where you feel free, where you feel like you can rest or breathe or whatever? So this episode, it's really a solution for being too busy. And I'm like, why should I be talking about this? Well, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you. So like I've always, up until I want to say just a couple of years ago, so busy, just like everyone. I mean, I feel like people are constantly running from this to that, and everybody has so much going on in their life. And now to this day, people will say to me, "Oh, I know you're so busy," or "I'm so busy. Like, I know it's just such a busy time. You must be so busy. You have so much going on." And when people said that to me after I kind of healed my busyness, I didn't say anything back. I'd be like, "Oh yeah, we're so busy." But now I use my voice. Now I say, actually I'm not busy at all. And they're like, "Well, I don't understand. Like, how are you not busy? Like, you have a podcast, you have a business, you have 2 kids, you're a military spouse, you're like doing these things." And I'm like, I custom design my life, so I am literally not busy. I need to have space, because when I have space, I feel like I'm true to myself. I am living authentically. I feel so much more joy. I can allow love and beauty into my heart, and then it's reflected back towards me and my family. And when we're just filling our life with all of the things, now you might say, "Hey, Annie, I'm not filling my life with all the things. The things are just here. Like I have to do all of these things. I have a job that I have to go to that's very demanding. I have, 4 kids that people are hungry. I have to be feeding people. And, I have an entrepreneurship that I'm working on, or I have art that I have to create." Like, all of the things, I understand. But the questions that I'm going to present to you today are going to be some things that you can ask yourself, so you can figure out if the things are really necessary for you to be doing. And stick with me, because I know what you're saying, because I was there too. Well, if I don't do these things, who's going to do them? And, people have to eat, and my job has to get done, and, I have to be there, and I promised my friend, like, all of the things. I totally get it. I understand. And, I want to share with you when I first realized that I was taking on too many things, like too much busyness. It was this last tour in Okinawa, Japan. And if you've been here with me a while, you may have heard me talk about Toshi's garden. Toshi and her husband and her family lived across the street from us. And Toshi's husband, we called him Papa-san. I'm not even actually sure what his actual name was, but Papa-san had the most breathtaking garden. Now, this garden was full of just the most beautiful bonsai trees, very large, well-maintained bonsai trees that I think they had in, like not at their house, but they were taken care of on like some other land, because these trees were like worth thousands of dollars. I had no idea, but a friend of mine was like, my goodness, see those trees, they are very, very expensive and very beautiful and very old. Well, I later did find out that some of the rock that they used around the koi pond that they had installed. Now, this is a small patch. Like in Okinawa, it's not like vast land. Like it's not like acres. It's just a little corner lot in a beach community. And the rock that Papa-san had for his koi pond was rock that that he had in his, I want to say, childhood or adolescent home nearby. And he had kept this rock for years, like his whole entire life, and used it in his koi pond at his family home that was across the street from us. So their house was a military, not bunker, but like military housing, it was a military building back in World War II. That was most of the community where we lived. And some of the houses were knocked down and larger family, more modern Japanese family homes were built. There was many of these around our neighborhood, but when we first moved into our house, Toshi's family still lived in the old military bunker style home. And they told us that they were smashing down their home to rebuild. And Toshi said to us, most of the land was going to be a garden. So we got to see this whole thing happen over the course of, about a year and a half. Actually, really the 3 years that we were there, because they were always changing and growing the garden. Well, you're like, Annie, how does this relate to like being busy? But this is how, I promise I'm getting there. So just watching this house transform and this family transform from being this itty bitty little, like kind of rundown bunker style home to it was like a prefabricated home that they brought onto the land. But the focus of the land and when I say land, literally it's like a little patch, the focus of the area, the lot, was this garden. So every single day after the construction was done and the bonsai trees were installed and all of the flowers and the koi pond and the rock and the driveway, I mean, just everything that they had worked on to bring to life in their vision, I would watch Papa-san every single day in his garden. Now, this man was so deliberate, so careful, so meaningful and thoughtful in the way that he cared for his bonsai trees, for the koi in his little koi pond, just for every, I think there was a rabbit in there too. Not in the koi pond. There was a rabbit like somewhere. They tried to give it to us and we're like, oh, no, thank you. Gomenasai. We cannot take a rabbit. But watching him every single day with the patience, the thoughtfulness, the kindness, and the not busyness, right? Like he was not rushing this garden. He was very careful, very thoughtful, very quiet, and very slow in his movements. And I mean, I was watching him from across the street. I'd watch him from our balcony, and I'd say to Al, I'm going to go over there and just like sit on the ground next to Papa-san and just ask him if he'll be my sensei. And he's like, I don't know. He's like, I don't know. He's not going to know what you're saying. And I'll just say, Papa-san sensei. And Al was like, I don't know. I think you can just, learn from him from just like literally across the street. So that's what I did. And I would really take in what he was doing. And with such admiration, such joy. And I just wanted to be more like Papa-san and more like the slow and deliberate, careful, full of joy, full of love life that he led, that he leads, that he still leads. And I was like, how can I welcome this into my life? Like into my westernized, American lifestyle. And when I really got real with myself, the solution was very easy. It was a very, very simple solution. And I know most of you are not going to accept this solution, and that's okay. Or maybe you won't accept it right now. And you'll hear these words that I'm saying, you'll listen to this story, you'll take your own picture of Papa San's garden, Toshi's garden, and what that means to you in your life. And maybe down the road, when you are faced with a question, when you're faced with an opportunity, an invitation, like something else that's going to be trying to be added to your plate, you'll come back to this story and you'll be able to go through some of these questions that I'm about to share with you right now and say, do I really need to do this? Like, do I really need to add this to my plate to be more busy with all the things that I'm already doing? And the questions that I have for you are just a few questions that I have for you that you can ask yourself every time a new situation presents itself. And the first question, these are not in order. I just jotted a few things down that I go through in my mind and that my husband and I go through when we have another situation, opportunity, activity for our kids to get involved in. So, am I the only one who can do this? Things like picking your child up from school, making dinner, appearing at an event or something at work, like whatever it is, like the thing that it is. But ask yourself, am I the only one who can do this? Sometimes the answer is yes. Yes, you are the only one who can do this. And sometimes the answer is no. And then you can make decisions from there. So for us, and I just reminded myself of this when I presented, picking your kids up from school. So for me, I pick my girls up from school, but the bus stop is literally right across from my house. But I decided that I have space in my life, in the lifestyle that I've created, in my work from home business, that I can take them to school and pick them up. And I really enjoy that time. Like for me, we do meditations, affirmations on the way to school. Sometimes we listen to some of our chants that we love listening to. And it's just, I really like it. Like I really enjoy taking them to school. Now, am I always going to enjoy it? I mean, I don't know. But for right now, for this season of life that we're in, I love taking them to school and I love picking them up. I love to see the vibe that they are in when they come into the car. I like to ask them questions so it's fresh in their mind. It's just a really crucial time that I want to be part of because I can. So when I say am I the only one who can do this? And if you're like, I do those types of things that the things that I'm describing, maybe you're saying, well, you enjoy doing those things around the dinner table or in the morning at breakfast or, before bed, like bedtime routine. And that's fine. Like I'm just sharing what works for me, and in hopes that you'll think about how this relates to your life. So asking yourself, am I the only one who can do this? And then the next question from there, can someone else do this better than me? Oh my gosh, I love this one. Can someone else do this better than me? Raise your hand if you are always thinking, well, I'm the only one who can do this. And literally nobody can do it better than me. If I spend the time to teach somebody else how to do this, that time, it's just going to be way too much time. I don't have the time, I don't have the energy to teach somebody else how to do this. I mean, raise your hand if you've ever said that. Of course, we've all said that. Nobody can do it like me. I'm the only one who can do this, and nobody is going to do it as well as I can. Well, you know what I learned? Many people can do the things way better than I can do, and they love doing the things. Just for my business, for example, when it comes to editing long form video or creating graphics or sometimes even writing sales copy, can somebody else do it better than me? Yes. Oh my gosh, 1,000,000 times yes. And one of the fastest and easiest ways that I've been able to teach somebody kind of my essence, I guess, like my energy, the way that I kind of do something, and then let them go, let them do it because they can do it better than me, is just making a quick video. Sometimes it's a screen share video. Sometimes it's just like a face to camera video where I'm talking about something. And if you're listening to this and you don't have your own business, but you do have things that you'd like to delegate, doing a video is a really simple way. I'm like, you can just turn your camera over on selfie mode, record a quick video, and, just you're teaching somebody the way that you can do it and also giving them the freedom to add their own twist to it. And you will be so pleasantly surprised at how often their way is a gazillion times better, more efficient, more effective than your way. So I'm really excited to hear your thoughts on this and maybe some of the things that you have been hesitant to delegate in your life, but if you took this off of your plate, you would open up space for rest, for joy, for more abundance in gratitude and love to flow your way. Okay. Another question you can ask, another solution to being too busy is, what would happen if this doesn't get accomplished? What would happen if this goal doesn't get accomplished? What would happen if this thing that I am setting out to do, what would happen if it doesn't happen? What would happen if this doesn't get done? Okay. And my brain, being a former law enforcement officer, immediately goes to, if this doesn't happen, is somebody going to die? Is the world going to crumble? Like, is somebody going to be injured? Is there going to be like some type of catastrophic event if this doesn't happen? So like when I was on patrol, sometimes if the thing that I didn't do, or if I chose not to do something and it didn't happen, like lives would be in danger. So I needed to do the things, and only I could do it. This was my job. This is what I was supposed to do. I'm getting paid to do this, so I needed to do it. But now that I'm not in that role anymore, I can ask myself, what is going to happen if I don't make dinner tonight to feed to my children? Well, they're going to eat cereal. They're going to be okay. They're going to eat yogurt. Like, they're going to live, right? Like, they are going to live. They're going to order a pizza. Like, everyone is going to be okay. And a lot of times we create these scenarios where, like, literally, what's that, like, little chicken where like the sky is falling, like the worst possible thing is going to happen if we don't do X, Y, and Z. Well, literally not true. Like, everything is going to be just fine. And I just want to add to that, sometimes when it's like, if a goal doesn't get accomplished, what is the worst that's going to happen? If you don't have a 5 or 6 figure, high 5-figure launch the next time you launch your online course, product, or membership, and the launch flops, well, what's going to happen? Well, maybe you might feel sad, or you might feel like your product sucks or whatever, but does it really? No, like maybe you were just missing on the delivery. Okay. Maybe you weren't articulating the value of this product to share with people why they need to purchase it. So what would happen if this thing doesn't get accomplished? Ask yourself that. The next question to ask yourself is this activity, thing on my to-do list, whatever, is it in alignment with my big vision outcome? And if you're like, big vision outcome, what are you talking about? Go back and listen to the last couple of episodes. We're talking about big vision outcome and how that is very different from goal setting. And that's also what we're going to be talking about in Magnetic Week that is coming up on January 3rd. So if you're not signed up for that, make sure you go over to my website, AnniePeguero.com, and sign up for Magnetic Week. We're talking about big vision outcome in there. So if the activity is not in alignment with your big vision outcome, it's a no. It's a hard no. Okay. If it's not a hell yes, then it's a hard no. I mean, I'm sure you've heard that before. I love that. If you're not like, going nuts to do the thing and it is so in alignment, your heart is on fire about it. It just brings so much joy into your life. It is in alignment with your big vision outcome, then it's a no. And I'm just going to call it what it is. Maybe you're saying, but Annie, some of these things, yeah, I'm not on fire to do some of these things that I have to do. I am not, like bursting with joy to do some of the things on my to-do list. But these things need to get done, okay? These things need to happen. It needs to get done. Then I encourage you to shift the story that you're telling yourself in your head about the desired outcome, about even the desired process, the journey that you're going through to make these things happen. I'm asking you to shift the story, all right? And to embrace a different feeling, a different physiological response to going through this activity and really attaching it, anchoring it to something that brings you joy. Okay. And what just flashed into my mind was, and this is a little bit, maybe, it's sexual. So if you have kids listening, maybe pause. But I was on Instagram the other day and looking at some content from some different content creators. And she was talking about opening her mastermind, like a really high ticket offer to her audience. And then she's like, I opened up my mastermind and then I came 3 times. And I was like, yeah, hell yeah. Like she's attaching that the beauty, the power, the self-love of orgasm to her mastermind, which I thought was gorgeous. Like we don't talk about that enough, like attaching pleasure to something in our business or something like making dinner, right? You're like, oh my gosh, like I couldn't even possibly think of that. But what I'm asking you to do here when I'm talking about attaching that feeling of pleasure to something that maybe seems scary or that you don't feel like doing or whatever, you're literally retraining your brain. You're giving yourself a new response when you think about these things that maybe have not been at the top of your list to do. Okay. So think about it that way. I love thinking about it that way because I don't think that we think about it enough. We don't think of ourselves as, pleasure creatures. We're like, oh, I have to do this. It's just another thing. But that reframe and attaching that orgasm and pleasure to it is so powerful, so empowering, so strong and sexy and just like thinking out of the box. So I just think it's super cool. So another question that you can ask yourself when you've got some things on your to-do list and you feel like super busy is saying, how can I make this easier? How can I make this thing that I have to do, this activity, this process, how can I make it easier? And a lot of times it's just maybe planning it out or being a little bit more strategic and, really making the best of your time and energy and delegating, making the thing just a little bit easier. The next question is this helping me? If I do this, is this helping me? If I say yes to this invitation to go to this party, is it helping me? Like, is it going to be empowering and beautiful and joyful? Or do you know that there's going to be like downers at this party that are just going to bring you down and you're going to have to like cleanse yourself with sage and like go for a swim in the ocean to cleanse yourself after you're around these people? So ask yourself, is this helping me? Is it helping my family? Is it helping my business? Is it helping my career? Is it up-leveling my mindset or is it poison? Right? Like, is it? And just being real friggin' honest with yourself. And then this question, I like this one a lot. Am I doing this? Is this a distraction from something else? Am I doing this right now because I'm distracting myself from doing the thing or being the person that I really need to be in this moment? Or, okay, that's a hard one, right? Because nobody wants to say, oh, I'm just doing this to distract myself from doing the actual thing that I should be doing. I mean, sometimes, you guys, it takes literally years and years to come up with that. And you can go through this like that, like just asking yourself these questions. Am I doing this? Am I saying yes to distract myself from what I know is my purpose, what I know I'm put on this planet to do, what I know I'm supposed to be doing in this moment. Okay. Another question, I just have a couple more. Another question is, am I doing this to people please? Am I doing this to please somebody else? Am I doing this because somebody else expects this of me? Like if I don't do this, the world's going to crumble. Like if I don't do this, they're going to be really sad. If I don't do this, they're going to think less of me. Like, really? Okay. Like, are you doing this to please somebody else? If you are doing this to please somebody else, but it also makes your life easier, it is in alignment with your big vision outcome. You are getting a goal accomplished. You are healing. You are going through this. Somebody else is going to be pleased, but it is in alignment, then you're on the right track, okay? If you can get through these questions and answering it in a way that feels really honest and true, and you are friggin' true to yourself when you're answering this, and you can go move forward and do the things and be the person without a twinge of guilt, without a twinge of people pleasing, without a twinge of, then you know that you're on the right track because your heart and your soul and your energy, your gut, your intuition, it doesn't lie. And you know that, okay? And the next thing, the last question that I have for you to ask yourself when you feel like you're so busy is to say to yourself, is this thing, is this activity, is this this yes, is this in alignment with my word and my vision for the year? So this goes back to creating a word of the year that we've talked about. And is it in alignment with your vision? Is it in alignment with your big vision outcome? Does it match up with your word of the year? And I told you that our 2021 year or word of the year was stability. So with every single thing that my husband and I added to our plate, we said, is this in alignment with our vision, with our purpose, and with what we dedicated this year to, which is stability in our marriage, in our family, as individuals, in our business, in our finances, in our spirituality. I mean, literally across the board, stability. And is it in alignment? And a lot of times we didn't even have to have that conversation. We didn't even have to say, like, use words. It was just like, we'd look at each other and we'd be like, no. Like, it was really helped us so much, like with our connection, with our emotional connection, with our emotional intimacy, just asking ourselves, each other, our whole vibe, our just everything, is this activity in alignment? It was easy. Like, it was really easy to say yes or no because we were so completely solid on our big vision outcome for the year. So here we go. I mean, there's a lot. I keep hitting my microphone. I hope you can't hear that. But this, so valuable. This is what I do with my coaching clients. We go through these specific things so frequently, just going over and over until it becomes second nature, until it becomes something that is part of you when you say yes to take on something new. I trust this was so very valuable for you. I know it's always helpful for me to go over this. I love going over it just as a reminder for me. And so just so you know how incredibly valuable this will be in your life when you start doing it. So thank you so very much for listening. Why don't you take a screenshot of your phone when you're listening to this episode and post it on your Instagram or Facebook stories and tag me. I would love to see that you're listening. I want to hear your feedback. Send me a message and make sure that you sign up for Magnetic Week, which kicks off January 3rd inside of a private Facebook group. So I can't wait to see you in there. Thank you so very much for listening, and happy holidays. Merry Christmas to you, and I'll talk to you next week. And right now, before you do anything else, literally go on over to Amazon and get Sarah Carter's book. It's called All About Change: How to Successfully Make Personal Life Changes. The book is only 99 cents until January 13th. The ebook version over on Amazon. She helps veteran and military spouses looking to make a difference in people's lives this new year and beyond. She is the owner and CEO of New You Coaching, and her website is inwiththenewYou.com. You can also find her on Facebook at New You Coaching LLC. So that's Sarah Carter with her book All About Change, How to Successfully Make Personal Life Changes, on Amazon for 99 cents through January 13th. And Sarah's going to be here on the podcast coming up in January. So make sure you grab her ebook so you can message us and let us know what questions you have for Sarah before she's on the podcast. Hop on over to AnniePeguero.com and sign up for Magnetic Week, and also get all of my freebies, all of my free downloads. I have a free book for you. It's called the Brain-Based Business Bundle. It's fantastic. It's going to help business owners kind of get out of that story of fear that we have in our own heads about being visible, about getting your products out there, and just walks you through from creation to being able to sell your offers. And this is going to be fantastic for people just starting out, and also for people looking to enhance, grow, up-level, and scale your business over at AnniePeguero.com. And don't forget about Magnetic Week, which kicks off January 3rd. See you there. Thanks for listening to this episode, and I'll talk to you next week.